All right. Hello and welcome for today's our first ViSHWaS Global Team meeting. As I was mentioning, we are very thankful on all seriousness. I have not done something like this big this quickly. Of course, Fazal, Ume, and Gorang, and many of us been involved. And Surgeon has mentioned involved in some projects on in regional levels or international levels. But this was by far the most humongous project we have done it in the such short span of time. To give you an idea what you guys have done it, $0 funding or zero rupee, zero franco, whatever the currency uses, or dinar, dollar funding. 60 days. 60 days. We had it from June 6th till August 5th. We covered 110 countries and got more than 5,500 responses. I will let you guys sink in that. Of course, 1,000 are medical students, nurses, and so on and so forth. But it is by far the most comprehensive representation of the world. Of course, we missed many countries. We were not being ambitious to get all 194 countries. Go figure it out how many countries in the world. If I'm wrong, you let me know and I'll correct myself. But we set our target for 100 countries. We got to 110 countries and so on and so forth. The topic was important. You could see in my background the violence study of healthcare workers and system. It doesn't mean this is the most authoritative or last study to be done. I think this is the beginning where if we could do with zero funding and get some high quality publications out of this study, there will be enough conversation around it, and eventually it may get funded for your own cause, own reasons in your own country, or other things will come out from it as well. Now, the planning of the study, getting an IRB exempt and collecting the data is just one third part of the project. Okay, one third. And Fazal and us, we can tell you that how much time we got rejection and all. Now, cleaning the data, revising it, refining it, inferring from that data, and writing the manuscript or manuscripts would be the key part, which will take another one third efforts from the core team and those who will be designated as main co-authors of the study. All of you, we may, for just in all fairness and responses, if we receive more less than 10 responses, most likely those countries will not make it part of the final analysis. That will decrease our number by maybe 100 or 110 responses. It's okay, we are ready to sacrifice that because you can't represent the country with just one name, not for authorship, but just for the representation part of it. So most likely, most of you should stay. And then the last part is then third is to submission process, revising, revision, rejection, resubmit, and all. So one third, one third, one third. From the project perspective, as I see it as a PI, a principal investigator, we have done the one third part, but one of the most tough part is being done. Data is collected, we are able to do it. Next phase is going to be equally important to churn out a couple of high value first few papers, and we have identified some of these papers. One manuscript is about the overall what it is, kind of descriptive manuscript. We want to get it out sooner, quicker, to any decent journal, which can go into which is PubMed cited and most likely free. We all are poor. Some of you might be rich. I see some of you use Apple iPads and things like that. I don't. So we try to go for a journal which doesn't ask for money. If not, we'll ask Gorang to sell his shirts and then raise some funds for us for publication fee. Then we have, I think most of you who are here today should have filled the survey when we asked for contribution form. If you have not filled that survey, the main goal was to write down your first and last name, your email ID, your affiliation, and maybe a hint of what worked for you when you sent these surveys, so we can include that into one of our method paper. So Akshat, being the lead who wrote the proposal along with Paswan, will be leading the first descriptive paper of describing whole thing what we did it. So then we can save the time and energy for a subsequent paper to describe the whole process again and again. We can just refer that particular paper as we go along. And it's look like the idea came up from, I don't see Tanya is here today, but idea was to see, can we write like guiding principles for getting amazing results or amazing responses for a global survey? She'll be leading that paper, and that's why those 2 questions in your contribution form, what worked out for you or what did not work out for you, would be included to say, these are the things which worked out, did not work out, and these are the guiding principles to have good responses. After that, the plain open field is right there. The countries which have highest responses, including India. I don't know if I may be misquoting people who look like Ume might be leading that one within the timeline and so on and so forth. We have like roughly 500 sub 600 responses from India, followed by US and other countries which have 100 plus responses in that matter. That doesn't mean a country, let's say if your country has responded 28 responses or 56 responses, you can't write it up. You're always free to write that manuscript for which is specific to your country. Is you have to take it as a grain of salt. You want to do as an abstract, a small research letter, or a full paper, because the responses are too small as well. But if that can go to one of your national journal, or you can write into your national language. You can write in Arabic, you can write in Spanish, French, or any local language if you have that particular thing, because I believe nothing that sort of might be written by now, you'll be free to do it. So how does the reward system build in? We will put the rules, and I would just started to see, let me see if I can open up my Excel sheet. No, sorry, my PowerPoint presentation for a second, and let me share my screen quickly. Let me know when you guys see this. Yes, no? Yes, now should be able to see it. So these are very initial few part, as I'll talked about it, that everybody who's contributed, that's why we listed down. Any paper goes out which is beyond one nation. Like if you're writing just your own specific nation, then probably there's no way we can share credit with other country representative. Other than that, all of you should be listed as a collaborative co-author for any core paper coming out from which used your country data or the country you represented, with more than 10 responses, of course. I don't think so anybody's going to be missed out. If you represent a country and which has less than 10 responses, talk to me. We'll try to accommodate you in some fashion. Goal is to give you a reward rather than withdraw or prevent you from getting that reward. Two, coming back to main authorships. We have 100 some countries. We're gonna take away 110 countries. I think roughly 20-25 of this country is gonna be excluded because they have less than 10 responses. So remaining of 80-85 countries, so maybe top 10 or top 20% countries representative will be listed into main paper, and we rotate that rotation. So all of you get at least 1 or 2 papers listed there as a main authorship if your country is hold up into that particular papers, and then you are in top 20% in that part of it. We'll try to rotate these authorship to make sure that, if you're more than 2 contributors, which are many countries, I think at least 20 countries, there are more than 2 contributors for each country. We try to rotate the authorship to make sure you do it. We'll follow the ICMJE guidelines, which doesn't mean that only data collection will get you authorship. You'll be given opportunities to actually edit the paper or write part of those papers as we write it down. So then you meet the criteria for International Committee of Medical Journal Editors and so on and so forth. ViSHWaS core team will also get cited. That the people will be managing the data, cleaning it, writing it, and actually writing the part of it. So they will get the main authorship on a rotation basis as well. Goal is to get as many as a few authorship based on the criteria we are setting it up and giving you opportunity to write it up in this regard. I'm going to stop it right here for this part. We will forming these things. We'll bring some examples to you guys as well. Those who have time in next 60 days to help out writing it up, we'll welcome your contribution, and then you can help us write these things as well. Give us a month or 45 days as we clean the data, figure out, and then see what is our final data set look like. And after that, we'll open it up for you guys to submit your idea. Idea would be a half-page idea that, this is my research title, this is what I want to do from this data, that's where I'm going to analyze the data. We will be able to send you that particular data set for you to write it up as a first author, but you still have to follow the same guidelines and principles. If you do to include more than 1 country, then you have to give the authorship and collaborative authorship and the ViSHWaS core team authorship based on the criteria we are setting it up. But you'll be as a first author for that particular paper. Let's say from Haiti or from Saudi Arabia, you want to write it up. That's going to be your first author paper, in addition to you becoming a collaborative co-author in all major papers and being a co-author if your country's contribution is high enough to be counted towards 20%. I know this is a new concept and it'll be confusing for most of you as well. We'll keep talking about it in every meeting we set up for every 2 weeks. You're more than welcome to attend those meetings. We'll try to record them and we try to disseminate the information, maybe creating a newsletter, but I will not be doing it. I'm too busy to do it. If any of you have some time and to work with us for next 4 to 5 months, we can share some of the templates with you and have some of these regular information come out to you as well. I repeat, the information might be new to you. Surgeon and I and Ume and Faisal, we have done these things multiple times in last 8 to 10 years. So based on those principles, we will try to maximize your contribution as a collaborative co-author, as a main co-author, or as a first author based on your research questions and so on and so forth. Only requirement I have is from you is trying to give more, expect less, and mutual respect, which we are really, really high on it. So we don't have to have, and I see Rajan's eyes rolling towards me, is that it has been very, very successful. We have always given more credit than what people deserve, so that there is no issues and ambiguity around it. If you have to demand for your role, there's you have to go back and see, maybe it's an oversight, or maybe you have a misconception of how much you contributed. But regardless, we will try to have more inclusive, more reward system than it is. I'll stop here my recording. Hope it is clear like a crystal. I don't think so. This is the first time you're hearing it. We'll come back and keep talking about these things. So stopping the video now.